Phaethon. In the sunny plains of Greece once lived Clymene, a beautiful nymph. However, she was not alone, for she had a little son, Phaethon, a handsome lad with golden hair. Early one morning, when the sun appeared in the east, Clymene said to her son, "Look there at the sun. That is your father, Apollo, who is getting ready to ride across the sky in his chariot and with his 4 steeds." And when the sun set in the west, she again said, "That is your father Apollo, resting after his long journey across the sky." And often after she said almost the same words to her son. At first he paid no attention to her words, for he was too young to understand what they meant. When he was older, and Clymene repeated the same things, he listened attentively and asked with wonder in his eyes, "Is it true that the great sun god Apollo is my father?" She told him it was really so. And now, every morning, when the sun came out, she told him stories about Apollo, that he was the god who punished the evil, and that was why he carried a bow and arrows with him, that he helped people also and not only punished them, that he was the god of music, that he was the god of the sun, and every day rode across the sky from east to west, and so gave light and warmth to people. She told him many other things. Phaethon became very proud, and when he was with his friends, he often boasted about his father and about himself as the son of a god. At last, his friends got tired of his boast and told him to show them some proof of his words or not to speak about his godfather any more. Phaethon went to his mother and begged her to allow him to find his father and get proof from him that he was really the son of Apollo, because his friends did not want to believe him or his mother and laughed at him. Clymene told him how he could reach his father before the chariot left the gates of heaven in the far east to begin his journey every morning. So Phaethon travelled farther and farther east until he could see Apollo's palace made of bright gold and precious stones. Apollo, on his golden throne, watched Phaethon as he was coming nearer and nearer. The lad came up to the throne and stood there silently, waiting for his father to give him permission to speak. Apollo recognized his son and said, "Speak without fear. Tell me, what brings you here?" In a few minutes, the lad told his father the whole story. Apollo was very angry, and as soon as Phaethon finished his tale, said, "I shall give you any proof you wish." And he made a vow to do that. Now Phaethon, with triumph in his eyes, asked his father for permission to drive the sun chariot that day. "The people on the earth will see me and will believe me then," said the boy. When Apollo heard this, he explained to the boy that only he, Apollo, could control the 4 steeds of the sun chariot, and that it was dangerous for anyone else to drive it. He told the boy to ask for another boon, but Phaethon said he did not want any other boon. Then Apollo said sadly, "Because of the vow I have made, I have to keep my promise." The hour was already near when the sun god began his journey every day. Eos, the goddess of the dawn, stood at the gates of heaven, ready to open them the moment Apollo gave the signal. And the hours were also ready to accompany the chariot as they always did. So Apollo could only warn his son not to use the whip on the horses. The boy, who hardly listened to his father's warnings, sprang into the chariot and dashed out of the eastern gates of the palace. For an hour or 2, all went well, and the boy remembered his father's words. But then, proud of his position so high above the earth, he began to drive faster and faster, and soon he lost his way. When he found it again, he drove so close to the earth that all the plants and rivers dried up, and the earth became black because of the heat. Phaethon, very much frightened, now began to use his whip on the steeds and drove so far away from the earth that it suddenly became very cold on the earth. The cries of the mortals on the earth became so loud that Zeus awoke from his sleep and looked down upon the earth to see what was happening. He could hardly believe what he saw. "How dared such a lad drive the sun chariot? He must be punished," said Zeus. So he took one of his most powerful thunderbolts and threw it at the driver of the chariot. The thunderbolt hit Phaethon, and he fell out of the chariot into the river below him. The chariot and the horses and the hours continued their journey. When the news of her son's death reached Clymene, she wept bitter tears, for she blamed herself for her son's death.